Welcome to another episode of the Peak Potential Success Show. My name is Fong. I'm an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor, speaker, and also a best-selling author. And every single day, I have the opportunity to help others unlock the potentials and guide them to succeed. Today, I have an amazing guest. This is somebody I met online a few months ago, and he was just everywhere. He was mingling, networking, meeting great people, interviewing amazing people, has great tips and everything. I just had to have him on my show. He has coached thousands of people and thousands of students on achieving top sales results. Everywhere he goes, he rises to the top in sales, whether it's software companies or at the Cutco Cutlery Company. He is a serial entrepreneur, a best-selling author of the book, The Mindset Principle. He's a top sales growth consultant. So please welcome Mr. Ray Gomes.
Thank you for having me here.
Hey, thanks for being here. How you been doing?
Well, it's the holiday season, and all I can put a smile on people's face, and including my face. So, business is booming and increasing in business, so can't complain.
Awesome. For those people who don't really know who you are, give us a little bit of a back history of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what I do full time is I am a Cutco cutlery closing gift consultant. So I work with businesses, real estate agents and brokers in helping them branding by using the Cutco products. Aside from them, I do sales consulting. So I help consult sales team, individual sales rep, and I'm also coaching over 60 plus high school seniors and college students in sales skills and professional skills. So I do a little bit of real estate investing on the side, but entrepreneurship has been in my blood for 12 years. It's survival for me. So
that is absolutely amazing, because I know a lot of people, when you talk to them about, hey, why don't you start doing this? Why don't you start doing that? And you go, no, I'm retail. I sell knives. So
yeah.
they focus on just selling knives. But you go from like one industry, do very well in that, and then go into another industry, do very well in that, and then complete jump out of that and now still doing retail, selling knives, and real estate. So what's that mindset that gets you to overcome so many different things and be successful in so many different things?
I guess the mindset was come from, watching my mom. She was a single mom. I was 3 years old when my parents got divorced, and she was just living paycheck to paycheck, and she was always miserable, and she wasn't really making money. So it was that point I made a vow that I don't really want to rely on one paycheck. I want to be able to have multiple streams of income, to help me accommodate that in order to do what I need to do to live a better life. And it wasn't easy because, my family wasn't very supportive. They called me jack of all trades, but it was in a negative way, right? So you want to do everything, right? But for me, it's more about testing it out, seeing what I can challenge myself. And there's a lot of things where I fail in my early careers to make me who I am today. And I'm, still, certain areas where I'm not doing so good, but it's the challenge of creating a possibility that you could live more than just settling in. So my mindset is, as long as I have a team in certain areas that can back me up, then why not? Why not take new challenges?
Great. Now, you talked about mindset a lot, and you are the author of the book, The Mindset Principle. Tell us more about that book and why people need to read this book.
So one of the biggest thing that I feel like in the age, especially in the US, 18 to 20 years old, or 22, I would say, the high risk of suicide is unreal, right? It keeps rising every single year. And part of it is that during that age, we just don't have a certain guidance. And part of my mission is to provide that guidance, to provide a roadmap so that the students can learn their skills. And I have to say that I wish I had someone like JT Fox, 12 years ago. I would be a whole new different level now. But it's this mindset of coaching, right? So I've been into depression. I attempted suicide. And it wasn't until I met JT Fox in the circle of influence that I have now to make me who I am. So it's very important that we all have coaches and the mindset. It's one thing to have coaching, but it's another to actually really want to implement what the coaches say, right? So it has to go both ways. It's like a marriage, right? You have to go both ways. So that's why I focus on mindset. And part of my selling and when I'm coaching is I don't really teach you how to sell. I more focus on how you to be a bit able to listen, right? The verbal and non-verbal, and getting your mindset into a spot where I could do this. Why? Because I have backup. I have a coach that can help me with a shortcut, right? So it's all about mindset. I don't care if you're physically fit, like the toughest guy in the room, muscular, whatever. But what I've learned is once your mind shuts down, everything falls apart. So it's very important to keep that mindset going, and that's what drives me. And that's why we wrote. My wife and I, we co-authored the book. She talks about her perspective on the outside, on how to be that companion, that understanding companion to help someone who is in depression or going through depression. And that I share my story of I call the miracle of June 2008. If how I was, physically blessed and able to really walk and run again and do more fun activities now. So it's all about giving back and showing that if you put your mindset to a positive, roadmap, anything is possible.
No, you focus a lot on mindset, and I understand that mindset is one of the most important things for anybody to be successful. So let's say that, okay, the mindset is in place. What would you say is the one of the most important skill sets that one must have in order for them to go from one industry to another industry and into a different venture and all that kind of stuff? What is that one skill set?
The one skill set is master one particular area first, right? Not trying to jump all over the place. Like you got to master position A, build a team around position A so that there's income coming in, so that when you move to position B, there's already income stream coming in position A. So when you go to position B, you're just investing a little bit out of your area, right? You're just increasing that investment. Trying to do A, B, C, D, E all at once, you are just the road to failure. That's all I'm going to say. It's the road to failure, right? So master A, move to B, master A and B, then move to C.
So what is A? What is that first thing?
Whatever that niche is. If you're in real estate, if that's your passion, then focus on real estate. Focus on the area that's bringing you income right now. That could be maybe your current job. Hey, I work in the corporate world for a year, right? It's not for me, but I had to create that foundation, right? Just like Cutco now. Cutco create that stream of income that allows me to go and do my other projects.
Very well said. Now, for somebody who specializes in sales growth and consulting in sales, that is a 4-letter S word that people really, really hate. So, what do you say to people who goes, I don't like sales, I'm not a salesperson, I can't do any selling? What's your remedy to that?
Oh, I love this question really much. Well, the first thing that I have to distinguish is, are you trying to be a salesman or a consultant, right? A salesperson is someone who just want to go out there, sell the biggest project, trying to make the highest commission. And once you close it, you're done. You never even talk to that customer again, right? That's why car salesmen are, on top of that, car salesman, the sales list, right? But I learned over the years that if you learn how to be a consultant, if you learn how to be a problem solver, now you're no longer a salesperson. You're now somewhat of a solution expert. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to sales, you're always solving someone's problem, right? So the question is, how good can you be that expert that your customer can trust you to be that expert to help solve their problem? So then it turns into not being a customer, but it then turns into being a client, right? And that's what I've learned along the way. When my first year of selling, I was broke. I was sleeping in the car. It was cold. I barely had food. So I had to do my appointments between breakfast, lunch, and dinner so I could eat at my customer's house. So that was my way of getting by. And
did you say you had to eat at your customer's house?
Yes, because I was sleeping in the car. My parents didn't support me in sales, but I knew sales is where it's going to get me. So I would schedule my appointment between breakfast, lunch, and dinner just so I could have food. That was my strategies, right?
So you go in and sell, and they go, oh, by the way, I'm here to stay for lunch too. And they start
Yeah, so my trick was, hey, I have the knife. All you have to do is provide the food, and we'll cook together. That was my way in. So so I provide the tools, and and we'll find the best one for you. But I'd rather you use it, right? But you got to find a way, right? You got to find a way to get by. So and it was solving a problem, right? I knew with cutlery. I mean, people eat food every day. Everyone used a knife, whether they cook part time or full time. So and I just I'm blessed that the company gave me a position while I was rejected. Wow, I don't know, 10 plus companies in 2008,
Mhm.
and you take what you get. So
No, many years ago, I did a very short stint of selling vacuums door to door, and
yeah.
I was shadowing one of my coaches at the time, and he went through a long 2 hour presentation at his house. Okay, this is right before dinner to the wife of the house, and after 2 hours, he was about to make his pitch, and then door opens, the husband comes home, and he's like, what's going on? Who are these guys? Why are these guys here? And he's pissed because he has dinner's not ready on all that kind of stuff. Now, has there been a situation where somebody comes home, you're sitting at the dinner table, and like, who's this guy?
Um, I would say no, because I do a very good job in the initial phone call. I usually ask, if your husband is going to be there, are you going to be together? So I kind of prep them together, and I usually try to get the husband and wife together because, that's the best way to make decisions if they want to move forward, right? So I think preparation is very important, setting up the atmosphere. Even in my speaking days now, I'm very, very picky on how I want my setup to be. Like, I want the camera on this side, I want the lighting on this side. I think that's the key, is setting it up. And from sometimes if people were to come in and say like, who is this guy? Then you may like, I'm Ray. I'm helping your wife make her life easier in the kitchen so that she can cook more for you and in less time, so you guys could spend more time and eating healthier. So I'm your solution.
If you had to make uh, the equation or formula of successful sales, what would the first three things be?
Number one is get a coach, get a sales coach. Number two is preparation, right? Preparation. And number three is role play. Practice, practice, practice. If you could have these three things in place, whether you're brand new or you're seasoned, however you want to define yourself, I think this three has really helped me successful because I listen to what my coaches say, then I practice after that and over again.
Great, nice. I was going to ask you how important is a coach, but you've already talked about how important coaches are. You also mentioned how important a team is, and I know that you and your wife work very, very close together in everything that you guys do. Now,
Yeah.
how do you differentiate who does what? Because I know a lot of couples, they're like, okay, let's get together and work on this, but they don't know, okay, you should focus on this aspect, or I should focus here. How did you kind of differentiate who does what and who excels at what?
Um, it's kind of funny. When we first started working together, it was a nightmare. We were both trying to do everything together. And I think one of my coaches, Christine, Coach C, she said, you got to just stay in your lane. Just stay in your lane. And I developed that. My wife, she's great at marketing, analytics, putting in the numbers. I don't have patience for that, and I'm not good with numbers, but I can go out and network and build that relationship. So I think over the last 6 months, since getting that coaching individually as well, I think that definitely helps strengthen our business and also our relationship. I think it's kind of really nice that we now have a stopping point like 8 p.m., 9 p.m., whatever the day is, work is done. It's now husband and wife time. And I think we've done a good job, but that definitely thanks to our coaches for sure. It was a rough start, but we're still improving, we're still learning. So yeah, that's why coaches, I mean, I don't know what I'll do without coaches. I can tell you for 10 years, I decided I know it all. And all I did was bring down my relationship, my business, And as soon as I got coaches, life is amazing. So
Great. Now, what would you say is one of the toughest challenges that you've overcome, and what did you learn about?
toughest lesson,
Or toughest challenge, toughest lesson?
toughest challenge, toughest lesson. Telling yourself that you don't know it all, that you need help. I thought I know it all. I could do everything by myself, and I had my ego in place.
Mhm.
I think letting that ego go and allowing people to help me along the way, the right people, right? You got to find the circle of influence. I think that was my biggest challenge, is letting it go. But once I grasped that, this is who I am right now.
Mhm. Was there a moment where you can pinpoint, you go, that was the exact time that I realized I was doing it all wrong, or I was doing it all by myself, or I really have to let go? Is there a story behind that, or it's just one day you woke up and go, nope, I need to do this?
Yeah, I mean, I want to go back to my Cutco business. My first 8 years, I wasn't really a good representative, but I was an okay management, right? But again, I didn't listen to my mentors, I didn't listen to my leaders, and I ended up losing the business for a while. And it really put me in a very tough spot. And one of the challenges was, the company ended up calling me back and say, "Hey, we want you back. It's family." And I didn't have that confidence, and most of all, I was afraid. I was ashamed because of my reaction. And finally, thanks to my mentor, Paulie, he said, "Hey, if you just listen to me, JT, and the coaches, you're gonna be fine." And I said, "You know what, Ray? You did everything you could yourself. You're not going anywhere." And I would say that since I made that change, my business this year has positively increased up to 100% each month.
Well,
I'm having the best year ever now, thanks to coaches. And I come to the point, I said, you know what? You guys are the expert. I'm shutting my mouth. I'm listening. I'm implementing. I'm practicing.
mhm.
And that has been the biggest change.
Well, congratulations for all your success. That's awesome because I know everybody here always wants to achieve more, and you obviously were able
Yep.
to skyrocket your success. So, congratulations on all that.
Thank
Now,
you.
when it comes to speaking, and I know you speak to a lot of people, you coach, you speak on stages, have you always been able to speak in public well? And if not, what was the first thing you did to develop that ability to speak in front of people?
No, I was a very shy person. I was also afraid of, uh, I would say, male figures, just because of past experience with, sexual assault and all that. And also my accent coming from Malaysia, and people couldn't understand me. But I wanted to be a speaker for a very long time because I felt like I had a presence of being a motivational speaker, not so a business speaker, but more of a motivational. So I started listening to Tony Robbins, Les Brown, uh, and then I think the biggest change honestly came when during my darkest moment, I really lost everything. I lost my car. Someone stole my car, my wallet, everything. It was done, and it was that moment in October, and it was a JT Fox event, and something in my gut said, "Go. Whatever you need to do, just go. Just go. Make it happen." I couldn't buy any of his program. I was literally broke. But when JT went up on stage and the way he presented himself, it was then I knew that's where I want to be.
Mhm.
That's where I want to be. And I made him a promise to come back. No matter how long it took, I will come back. And thankfully, a year ago, I met him and I came back. I and now I'm doing what he's doing, literally speaking. And for once, I could say I feel that I belong. I
Mhm.
feel that is my power, and just getting the energy from the crowd, the it's just a moment. And I think that this is who I am now. So,
Awesome.
but it took a lot of practice. I still practice every day. I still have an accent. I practice my words. I still practice every single day,
Mhm.
um, just to better myself, And also, it's also out of respect because someone is giving you the opportunity to go out there and help and fulfill your achievement, right? And I don't want to let anyone down, including myself. So I think sometimes I'm very hard on myself, but I enjoy it.
Very, very well said. And knowing JT, I believe he always has that line saying, "If you don't do it today, you're never come back. And if you say you're coming back, you're lying." And obviously, you proved them wrong, and he probably got a little bit more impressed about you for coming back.
Yeah. I think when I set something on my mind, I'm going to do whatever it takes until I cannot do it anymore, right? I'm going to do whatever it takes. For me, loyalty, respect is the biggest thing. It is very rare that I cancel an appointment or cancel an event unless I'm physically, just couldn't do it. But if I give you my word, I will do whatever it takes. Yeah.
Cool. You've mentioned a couple of times being from Malaysia and you have an accent. I know a lot of people who are so afraid to go speak just because they think the accent's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Now, how much of a problem is the accent itself or confidence?
I would say 90% confidence, 10% accent. And I say this in a positive way. The accent thing is just an excuse.
Mhm.
It's literally an excuse. I was making too much excuses. But confidence takes the right team to be around you. And you got to develop that.
That's very well said. And I fully agree with you because I know a lot of people who can go out there and like, I used to work in an environment where they have Russians and people from China and Polish people, and they're like arguing. And you have three of the hardest accents to understand, and they're all speaking English. Nobody understands anybody, but they're so confident. They're talking and they're arguing. And I'm like, see, accents have nothing to do with it. As long as you're confident, you can get your word across. But yeah, that's one of the biggest stepping stones I think a lot of people have is to overcome that accent excuse and then go up and actually speak to people.
Yeah.
Now, for somebody like yourself, I remember you saying that you love soccer and way back and you used to play soccer or football and you were in the point where you were actually very good and progressing as a star player too. How big of an impact has a team environment transferred over to business?
Wow. Um, I kind of relate a lot to soccer with team. Part of my biggest downfall that I felt was having the opportunity to go play for Manchester United when I was 10 years old, when it came to Malaysian Academy. And, my mom just told me no. And all my friends ended up going and playing. But I didn't give up. When I moved to United States, I played on my high school team, but I wasn't a starter, but I was on the bench. It was then I was developing my coaching skills because I was always listening, watching my coach, watching the team, watching the movement. And it was then I learned about one unit, but most importantly, focusing on your individual strength, right? So that's why in a team like a soccer team, you have your defenders. You have 4 defenders or 3 defenders, but they stuck as a defense to carry on the rest of the team. Same as your strikers in your midfield. So I think that you got to develop the culture and really set a vision on what you want to accomplish in the long run and what's in it for them as well. That is something that I always created. It's when I get someone on the team, they're not my employees, they are my partners. Because I want to treat them as partners so we can help build this organization together. And I put people based on their strengths. So if you're good in IT, you're going to be in charge of this IT department. If you're good at accounting, then you're going to put in accounting. Why? Because your skills, your strengths fulfill my weaknesses that's going to help build this organization. So if you're going to build a team, build a culture. Be a culture that people want to be a part of. And this is something that I always say to myself. If you were to go to war today, do you have a team to back you up? Or are you on the battlefield on your own?
Very well said. Very nice. You also have a podcast.
I do.
And you interview some amazing people on your podcast. Tell us more about your podcast.
Yeah, my podcast is called Sell Yourself to Drive Sales, and I bring in a bunch of CEOs, some celebrity. Matter of fact, I got a big celebrity that I'll be interviewing here soon, and we talk about different perspective on how to close sales, having the proper mindset on closing sales, and why sales skills is important, right? And I don't want anyone to just hear from me. I wanted people to hear from the experts out there who's being successful, because I believe that at one time or another, we ourselves never listen to our parents. So we always listen to the other influence, right? So no one wants to listen to me each time. But if they can interview and interpret or maybe hear the same thing that I'm saying from someone else, sometimes it's just click, right? So I created Sell Yourself to Drive Sales because sales is an important skill. If you can sell, you can succeed. That's what JT showed and say all the time, and it's true. So I want to be able to provide a platform where people could learn sales skills and improve their closing sales.
Very, very well put together, because I've listened to a few episodes of your show, and very, very great, good content, and lots of stuff to learn as well. Because people can't just think that they can do it all themselves. They need to learn from the experts, learn from you, and just get that as much information as they can from people like yourself. You mentioned before relationships is one of the most key factors in building teams and whatnot. What would you say is the top three things that you do to ensure that the relationships are strong and long lasting?
Yeah. And when I bring people on my team, the first thing I want to know is what are their vision, right? Where do you want to be in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years? Okay. Next thing I ask them is why. Why do you want to be in that position? Right? And then finally I say, how can we bring that to the table for you? How can we work together? Mm-hmm. So it's always focusing on your people. And I believe in if you take care of your people, people will take care of you. I strongly believe in that phrase. And I would say this too, a lot of corporation, they only care about the numbers. They only care about, what's good for the business. And sometimes people don't really want to know about how much money they can make, but rather how much time can I spend with the top leaders to get better at the job. Mm-hmm. So it's a misconception that people always think, oh, everyone wants to make money. But sometimes people just need time. Yep. And one thing that I do with my team is I always make time to get to know them individually and also as a group. And showing appreciation and have one thing I love doing is having weekly awards night. I don't care if someone move a chair or move a table, you're getting some sort of recognition. Nice. And that little recognition sparks something so big that we miss out a lot. So relationship, stay communicated, listen to what they want, and then try to work things out to where you both can succeed out of it. Very well said. How do you celebrate your wins? Short term. My celebration, if I win something, is more spiritual. I'm always grateful. First thing I do is, pray to God and say thank you. And then, I reward myself. It's funny, when I used to do cold calling, I would put 4 or 5 of my favorite candy bars. And every time I would schedule a phone call or an appointment, I would eat a candy bar. And if I don't, I'll just have to stare at it, right? So those are ones. But now, for me, since my wife and I do business together, when we achieve something, I make an effort. We're going to have a nice dinner. Awesome. We're going to have a nice dinner. We're going to do whatever you want. But it's very important to reward yourself, because what I've learned, rewards, victories only last for a short time. But the road to get a victory is like forever. So you got to enjoy. Very, very well said. If you have a chance to give one message to the entire world, what would that message be? Everyone is born with a gift. You are born with a gift. Don't be afraid to use it. Very well said.
Now, if people want to get in touch with you, get a copy of your book, listen to your podcast, what's the best way to reach out or follow all that stuff?
Yep, you could go to my website, Ray Gomes, RayGomes.com, and you can follow me on there, get in touch with me. And if you're a millionaire flakes, just go to Sell Yourself to Drive Sales.
Awesome. Now, before I let you go, I have 5 quick questions for you. Tell me the first thing that comes to mind. All right?
Okay.
You're standing there for a penalty kick. Top left, top right, or center? This is your
center.
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 So you're kicking down the center, correct?
Yep.
Very cool. I don't hear that very often. Every time I watch a penalty kick, I'm like top left, and they kick top left. Never watched anybody kicking this down the center. What would you rather win? The World Cup or a gold medal in the Olympics?
World Cup.
Of course. Who would you like to have your Cutco product in their hands? Anybody in the world?
Every single living, breathing human being.
Okay. That caught me a little bit off guard because the next question I'm going to ask you is, well, now every person, every living being on Earth is in your living room now, and they're all hungry. So what are you going to cook for them?
They got to use the Cutco knife and cook for themselves.
So they're bringing their own food. Okay. Yes. You have no actual recipes, no specialty. They're doing it themselves.
Nope.
Very, very well said. And my last question is, what is success like? I have 4 random items here. Give me a number between 1 to 4.
3.
1, 2, 3. So how is success like a mullet?
Own it.
Own the style, own the hairstyle,
own the style.
And own the success.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for that. Thank you for your time, your stories, your advices, your speech, and all that kind of stuff. Absolutely amazing. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So for everybody out there, he is Ray Gomes. My name is Fong. Until next time, today is the day to unlock your peak potential. We'll see you later.